Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachahakwadash. That is the name of the Most High God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yahweh, Bahashem means in the name, all right, of Yahweh Shai, which is the name of the only begotten Son of the Most High, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. All right, Bahashem in the name of Rachakwadash, the Spirit Holy or the Holy Spirit. All right, which ultimately has been sent in the form of comfort in these latter days, all right, to the elect of the nation of Israel, starting with the servants, the prophets, all right, who have been at the forefront of this spiritual war, all right, as this empire is crumbling, this world system is crumbling, and these heathen, are going about to establish, their footprint in the earth, make a name for themselves. Things are rippling out of control, all right? News and prophecy, where we link the things that are happening throughout the four corners of the earth to the Holy Scriptures, giving the elect insight into the mind of the Heavenly Father via His plans for this world, okay? The Scriptures say where there is no vision, the people perish. And as you can see, many of these Israelites, many of these, groups who proclaim to be, stewards of the gospel, all right, are lacking. Many of them aren't faithful. As a matter of fact, the book of Sirach, let's get the book of Sirach, the 36th chapter, right? Because we're pretty much at the end of this captivity, but there are a few more prophecies that need to take place before the Lord gets us up out of here. All right, and it's going to require extreme faith. This is the book of Sirach 36:14. It says, "Fill Sion with thine unspeakable oracles, and thy people with thy glory." Now, what is an unspeakable oracle? It's the prophecies, okay? Which in times past, you would have a priest, right, who basically, received insight from the Heavenly Father and went and gave the children of Israel the message of how to operate, what to do, gave them the understanding of, clean and unclean. Okay, then you had the prophets, right? And particular messengers, seers that the Lord would always send to fill our people with the understanding of what He wanted or what He required in the times that they were in. It's no different in these times. So our people are being filled with the unspeakable oracles. Let's look at what an oracle is, okay? Let's look at what an oracle is. All right, it says a priest acting as a medium, all right, and of course it says priestess, but that's on the left-hand side, all right? It says a priest acting as a medium through whom advice or prophecy was sought from the gods, all right, in classical antiquity. And see, that's ultimately, the left-hand mechanism, all right? But the true aspect of this is the priest or the prophets receiving, divine communication from the Most High through Yahweh Shai, and ultimately going and warning the people, okay? It says a place at which divine advice or prophecy was sought, all right? A person or thing regarded as an infallible authority or guide on something, okay? So basically it's a prophet, seer, all right? Seer, a prophet, a seer. Okay, so how would our people be filled with the unspeakable oracles in these latter days? Okay, through proper leadership, all right? Through Yahweh sending, all right, the Holy Spirit through His right hand, Yahweh Shai, all right, to ultimately comfort particular men on the earth with the right message, just as Joshua and Caleb had, okay, the right report, okay, which that represented, all right, because you had Joshua, who was Ephraim, you had Caleb, which is Judah, that symbolized, all right, pretty much the tabernacle of David, which is the elect of Judah and Ephraim coming together, and having the perfect testimony concerning future events, all right, and ultimately giving our people the right report, not a fearful report, not a report with a gray area, where you don't know what this is, you don't know what that is, you kind of iffy on this, you don't know what the name is anymore, the mark of the beast, I don't know, it's not important, don't worry about that. Moses fell out of the truth, John the Baptist fell out of the truth, all of these unstable messages. Or you have individuals that are in an uproar over, the happenings between a man and his woman, like the Deacon Akai. You have particular individuals who have been silent, some for years, some for months, some for weeks, some with an inconsistent message. They may load videos here and there, but as soon as they seen this woman in distress, now all of a sudden they're on the front lines. All right. But when it comes to warning of what's getting ready to happen in the planet Earth and what mindset we should be in, they're null and void. They're silent. Okay. And the concept of then shall it be known who is my chosen, that's taking place now. If you have the right spirit, you should see who the true men of the Lord are. And a lot of these individuals think that they can, stain the reputation of the prophets by bringing out particular clips that may not, sound good to the ear concerning this world, this life, concerning the values of what, this world, pushes, concerning the customs of this world. We bring out ancient customs and they don't align with the customs of this world or how we were brought up as Gentiles. So it's going to put a bad taste in the mouth of the listener. But those of you who have the Holy Spirit, all right, you're able to pray to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, all right, to keep you on the right path and know and understand, all right, that these dudes are a bunch of charlatans. And that's also the marking of the last days, all right, which is deception, okay? And they're going to try to put a stain on the name of the true prophets, those who are laboring, right? Because again, what are we supposed to do? Okay? The prayer here will start at 11, this is the book of Sirach 36 and 11. Gather all the tribes of Jacob together and inherit thou them as from the beginning. And many of you Israelites don't even have this hope. You don't understand that in the coming kingdom, we're going to, live in bodies that are not subject to sin and rule on earth. You don't have that hope. What does it mean, inherit thou them as from the beginning? All right, going back to the very beginning, the first fruit spirits, because we do have bodies in the heaven. All right, 2 Corinthians, the 5th chapter, clearly taps into that. I was watching, Vocab Malone, and his minions, pester brothers again. And when brothers brought up the concept of having bodies in heaven, they didn't believe it. Okay? Again, Christianity is a well-kept monument of failure. All right? Anyway, O Lord, have mercy on the people that is called by thy name, and upon Israel, whom thou hast named thy firstborn. Be merciful unto Jerusalem, the holy city, the place of thy rest. All right, which at the moment, the elect are as Jerusalem. Wherever the elect are scattered, that is where the teaching of peace is, and that's where the Heavenly Father is dwelling through his only begotten Son. It said, you shall be as small sanctuaries amongst the places where you are scattered. So we no longer have a physical temple, physical tabernacle. We no longer have to return to physical Jerusalem to, have the presence of the Heavenly Father among us through Yahweh Shai's sacrifice. Wherever the elect are scattered, that is Jerusalem. And this is what a lot of you don't understand as well. It says, fill Sion with thine unspeakable oracles. Now you know what an oracle is. And thy people with thy glory. See? Give testimony unto those that thou hast possessed from the beginning, and raise up prophets that have been in thy name. Reward them that wait for thee, and let thy prophets be found faithful. All right. And as the scriptures say, let's get that here, where there is no vision, people perish. People don't understand the importance of prophets or prophecy. People just want to hear what they want to hear. Okay. You got a lot of Jake with just selective outrage, just to, there's a lot of Israelites just want something to complain about so that they can deem the ministry and everything unpure. All right. The bottom line is we're at the end, which means that the new song is being sung and the church of Yahushua has to be established somewhere in the earth, the tabernacle of David. Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish. See? But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. And as we're under this grace period, all right, we're under the law of faith. See? And that doesn't mean we don't keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability. All right, but not bowing the knee, being a brother, right? Showing agape love. Okay, being obedient to the sacrifice that we're offering our bodies up to for the tabernacle of David to be built. Okay, not taking the chip, not bowing to the beast, his image or his mark. Those are also laws that we're going to have to keep. See? So where there is no vision, the people perish. Okay, and this word vision, all right, chazawan, vision, oracle, prophecy, divine communication, prophecy. All right, let's read it in the NLT. All right. When people do not accept divine guidance, they run wild. And you look at Jake, they're running wild. They're all over the place. They're a bunch of wild monkeys, all right, in a cage, all right, looking for, bananas and, pieces of cookies and just all over the place, man. Just a bunch of wild animals, brute beasts on the loose. Okay? So there's a particular spirit that we are to be in. Understanding what the will of the Lord is, man. Ephesians 5:15 in the NLT. Be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise. Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. The times are short. Don't act thoughtlessly, but understand what the Lord wants you to do. All right? Understanding what the will of the Lord is. Okay? Don't be drunk with wine. All right? Wherein is excess, but be filled with the Holy Spirit. Speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs. And this book is the new song. The volume of the book being brought out by the prophets, all right, is ultimately the priestly choir that David set up. And that's very important into our culture, man. Singing a new song, getting our people in tune with Yahweh Bashmiel Shai. Because clearly the scripture said that we should measure the times diligently. And how do you do that? Okay, you have to have a prophet to keep you on the right path of what the Lord is doing and what his will is concerning the world that you're living in, concerning the system that you're living in. Okay, and as we can see, all hell is breaking loose all throughout the four corners of the earth as governments across the world are getting more draconian, bringing about the NWO by the order of the elites, by the mandate of the elites. Just like in one of our recent news and prophecies, we talked about the concept of Nebuchadnezzar, calling all of the kingdoms that he had, dominated to bow to the image that he had, had an artificer to make. You got that concept, Trump. He got a golden statue. You got a lot of things happening, but we clearly see that the image of the beast in the form of this technocracy is being pushed all around the world, okay? And the people are being left out. The working class is being wiped out, okay? And you're going to have more and more national rebellions, okay? This is off of our first video that we'll tap into. All hell breaks loose as Trump fam faces massive boycotts. Okay, so be on the lookout for more rebellions against these data centers, against what the powers that be are doing. Okay, and against the image that they're establishing. A lot of people are waking up to what is happening, all right, and the corruption that's going on via the governments that they are living under. Okay, because again, a government is supposed to work on behalf of the people, supposed to serve the people. Okay. Now, when we get into the kingdom of heaven, of course, we're going to have subjects, but the overall purpose of our rule will be that humanity learns righteousness. Okay. The resources of the earth, okay, everything being put back in order will benefit humanity. Okay. Clean air, clean water, safety for children, right? Family structure. All of these things are going to be reestablished in the kingdom of heaven. All of these things have been dismantled under this demonic rulership that has taken grip of the planet Earth as greed, right? And nothing but rebellion against Yahweh Bashim Yahushua has been fixated into the earth. And idol worship only leads to corruption, decay, and rebellion. Okay, and the people end up, destroyed. The scriptures say, let's get that real quick in Proverbs 29, right? So the earth is crying out for new rulership, man. Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. And all of these governments worldwide have been bought off by the wicked.
All hell is breaking loose as the Trump family is being boycotted everywhere. Their construction projects in Albania, in Belgrade, in Australia, and throughout the world, not just being boycotted by the people in those countries, but people are rising up in mass protests in order to call out anyone who is being complicit with the Trump family in building these corrupt projects across the world, plastering the name of Epstein class, Trump, a family of war criminals in beautiful landscapes and beautiful cities across the world. The world is not having it.
The world is not having it. And we know what the book of Job says, right? Let's get it. All right. As a matter of fact, we'll go up because these devils are getting ready to lose as they're huffing and puffing about this new world order they're getting ready to set up. Okay, they're not going to be able to enjoy it. They've hoarded all of these riches just for their demise, man. Okay? And they're getting more and more tyrannical, all right, with the things that they're getting ready to do. All right, Job 20:17, he shall not see the rivers, the floods, the brooks, the honey and butter. He's not going to be able to enjoy everything he labored for. That which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down according to his substance till the restitution be. NLT, they will give back everything they work for. Their wealth will bring them no joy. Okay, they don't have to restore everything. And we don't want paper money. What you're going to restore is the resources, because resources aren't destroyed. They're just transferred. And that's what's getting ready to happen. I believe I had that here. Sirach 10:8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches gotten by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So gold isn't going to be destroyed. Silver isn't going to be destroyed. Silicon, all of these things ain't going to be destroyed. They're going to be transferred to the right people. Okay? Verse 4. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. And this is not a profitable rulership under you devils, man. Okay? It's not profitable, and people are waking up to it. Okay? Synonymously, you have, the plan of the elites is to keep people mad at Jake, and it works to a degree. But even, your regular everyday Edomites are eventually going to snap. They're losing. And their loss has nothing to do with Jake. Okay, their loss has everything to do with the greed of the powers that be. Okay? Verse 19, Job 20, because he have oppressed the poor and have forsaken the poor, because he had violently taken away a house which he builded not. Okay, all over the planet Earth is he doing this. And this is why people, all right, have kicked the small hats out of over 100+ countries. Okay, he's a fugitive. He's a vagabond. Okay, surely he will not feel quietness in his belly, and he shall not save of that which he desired. Okay, for they oppressed the poor, NLT, and left them destitute. They foreclosed on their homes, right? You see gentrification, they do this worldwide, man. They were always greedy and never satisfied. Nothing remains of all the things they dreamed about. Okay? Nothing is left after they finish gorging themselves. Therefore, their prosperity will not endure. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits, and every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. And that word wicked, if you're new to these videos, right, is Imal, the laborer, the sufferer, the workman, the working class. All right, and here it is. The working class are the ones that are holding this whole system together, and they're constantly SHITTED on. Okay? You know, excuse my Swahili. You know, we try not to overuse those words, but those words do come out. It's just the harsh language of the day. All right, but we understand, you know, you have some people who that may rub the wrong way, who may be sincere. All right, but a lot of you are going to have to grow up as well. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not my goal to just every 5 words, you know, it's you know, foul language or, you know, whatever the hell it may be to you. In the grand scheme of things, it's just a harsh language of the day. It's not a curse word. A curse is calling on the Lord to do evil to someone. Okay? But in the grand scheme of things, the working class has been undermined, man. Okay? Played with, destroyed, removed. Okay? Especially the working class Edomite. They were the ones who, you know, who it was important for them to buy into this system of Edomite supremacy and America being made great again, and it's turned into all hell. Now, worldwide, they're going around the earth setting up these data centers and all of these projects, and people are getting ready to rebel against them, and it's not going to go how they want. This is why they're getting ready to pass all manner of laws and legislation, okay, forbidding people to, you know, state their opinion, forbidding people to even practice certain religions.
The name Trump is a curse and a stain on humanity. What you saw there at the outset of the video, it's the protests that are taking place in Albania. Day after day, we've seen tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands of protesters out there to protest Jared Kushner and Ivanka, using Jared Kushner's private equity firm to destroy a beautiful Albanian island, a protected environmental mecca that's referred to as the Sazan Island.
So they're going all around the world, taking land. Let's get Isaiah 14. And when it's all said and done, you're going to know who the wicked was. And why our people are sitting up here trying to figure out a way to destroy the prophets and, you know, tear down the rebuilding of the tabernacle of David. You're assisting the wicked. Meanwhile, you're ignoring the wicked. Okay? The goal is that the Lord take these devils down, man. Isaiah 14:5. The Lord has broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. This is what's coming. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hinder it. NLT, you struck the people with endless blows of rage and held the nations in your angry grip of unrelenting tyranny. But finally the earth is at rest and quiet. Now can it sing again? This man has taken peace from the earth, right? And he ain't gonna stop. This is why there's protests all over the place.
filled with flamingos, filled with beautiful natural habitat. Ivanka and Jared claim that they discovered this island and they want to turn it into their own Trump Island, and the people of Albania are not having it. The Prime Minister of Albania is under fire. He is denying what everybody in Albania knows, and they are livid. We've seen similar things take place.
And on the news, there's a blackout of all the rebellions going on against what these devils are doing worldwide. Okay, they're trying to keep that under wraps. Meanwhile, they're coming with concepts like, if you are a anti, AI, you can be an extremist and all of this stuff. We'll show you. I mean, we've been showing you, but we'll show you a few things here as well. But
in Belgrade, where the people there were calling out the corrupt deals in order to try to build a Trump tower there. We're seeing people in the country of Georgia livid after the Trumps are announcing a Trump Georgia corrupt project there that to me is filled with many red flags.
What happened to making America great?
And then in Australia, the developer of a purported Trump skyscraper there, someone who was from a very obscure, kind of shady background, in my opinion. I'm not really sure what this guy's real estate bona fides was in any event. The Trump family picked this guy for their Australia tower. And he said no one wants to be associated with the Trumps. And so he said he called off doing any further development of the project there. I want to break down what's going on. Let's start off with what's happening in Albania, where Ivanka and Jared wanted to take over and are still trying to take over the Sazan Island right there, a beautiful island, one of the last wild, undeveloped spots in the Mediterranean. It used to be a closed-off military area under the old communist government. It has kind of a very creepy underground tunnel system. And so lots of people are saying, well, no wonder the Epstein class wants to build out on this island because of the underground tunnels. But above the tunnels, it's actually beautiful. It's a beautiful island with seals, turtles, flamingos, and birds. And Ivanka made a video the other day that's gone viral. We did a video on it yesterday, and I hope you appreciated the video we did, because now you're probably starting to hear more about this, but yesterday you probably weren't. But Ivanka and Jared Kushner said, look, we were on a yacht with the Rothschilds. I swear to God, this is their story. You can't make this up. We were on a yacht with the Rothschilds, and we discovered this island, and we're like, ooh, that should be ours. Daddy, can I have this island, Daddy? It's going to be my island. So then we reached out to the Prime Minister of Albania, and we said, can we have this island? And he was like, yeah, you can take the island. He's an artiste. Eddie Rama is his name, and he's the new prime minister. He's very autistic, and so we made a very artistic island. What are you even talking about? The American people are suffering. This deal couldn't be more corrupt, and you can see the people out there. As I said, hell is breaking loose in Albania. People are pissed. You see these mass protests. I'll show you different views of these mass protests that are taking place as people are livid about this construction site. And I mean, look, Ivanka talked about it. Jared Kushner talked about it. We know it's actually happening. But you had Edi Rama, the prime minister of Albania. He went on CNN yesterday. Did you see this? And he held up a book that says the Albanian Files. Not sure you're helping your case there, bud. He held up a book called the Albanian Files, and then he claims that none of this is true. He goes, this is fake news. Don't believe all the protesters. Don't believe the fact that on the Sazan Island, there's a construction site and they're demolished. Don't worry that I've given it the clearances. Don't you worry about any of it. Here's what he has to say. Play this clip.
In this protest, there are well-meaning people.
And see, these leaders have all been bought and paid for by the small hats. All right. This is the book of Psalms 49 and 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Okay. All right. Taking dwelling places that are not theirs. All right. I forget where that said. I think that's in the Apocrypha. As a matter of fact. Let's see if we can find that dwelling places. Apocrypha, I think, maybe in the Apocrypha. Is it Second Edges 11? Let's see, Second Edges 11. All right, and these are the things that Yahweh Shai warned about as well. Is it this? 2nd Esdras 11. Yeah, this is a good one. 2nd Esdras 11 and 42. For thou hast afflicted the meek, speaking of Rome, and we're in the revival of Rome. Thou hast hurt the peaceable, thou hast loved liars, and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and have cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm. Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up to the highest, and thy pride unto the mighty. And the highest have also looked upon the proud times, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled. Okay?
Young people interested genuinely to the environment that have been misled big time. There is not such a thing like a Trump family Ireland. There is not such a thing like the family of the American president taking over protected areas where flamingos will be killed by them. These are all stories that, of course, get traction, but can't be far from the truth.
And now there is a corruption case going on right here. As Jude Liggum explains, on Monday, Albania's special structure against corruption and organized crime, known as SPAC, confirmed it was investigating Kushner's project. The investigation will probe the changes to the land's protected status and how Kushner-controlled entities obtain development rights. An investigative report found that the project involved a network of some shady individuals. At least that's what's being alleged there by Jude Liggum. And so you heard the Prime Minister there of Albania saying, we're not involved in this. It's not happening. Look, here's what here's what Ivanka said about this. So is Ivanka making this up? They're all just such liars. All these people are liars. Here, play this clip.
I'm working on an incredible project with my husband in the Mediterranean. It's massive in scale.
I think that's an understatement. Can you explain?
Yes, it is. It is.
There's no.
So these devils are just going around throughout the four corners of the earth, just doing wickedness, man. All right? Okay, this is what I was looking for right here. Because all of these politicians are being threatened by the small hats.
Over the past few months, the RJC spent more than $5 million to defeat Thomas Massie.
So AIPAC, I don't know if they tweeted this out. They said, Congressman Massey's defeat on Tuesdays, that's a clear precedent. Elected officials are free to disagree with us, but only briefly.
Well, that should put those conspiracy.
So all of these particular rulers around the world are basically, getting paid off, getting threatened. They're under blackmail. All right, even your own President Trump, all right, to do the bidding of the small hat man. Okay, they're at the forefront of the NWO. Remember, the scripture said Amalek will be the first of the nations, but his latter end will be that he perishes. And first, all right, meaning the greatest of the nations. They were the first to attack us when we left out of Egypt, but in end time prophecy, as that was going into in the book of Numbers, the 24th chapter, Amalek would be at the very top. Okay? And everybody is bowing the knee unto them and their will.
Conspiracies to rest.
Yeah. So this is that's their version. That's the.
So you can disagree with them, all right, but only for a little while before ultimately they roll on your ass.
AIPAC version of a clever joke. Even though it totally reveals their absolute control over our government and all its processes, they still think it's funny. It's like if this was a husband telling his wife something to this effect, he'd immediately be branded an abusive spouse, and not just by the audience of The View.
I mean, that's so psychotic. The only thing I can compare it to is when the ADL was posting gold to my ear saying we can forgive them for killing us, but we can never forgive them for forcing us to kill their children.
Yes, I see
that video. One crazy thing from this hag about that.
Remember when they said that if a woman ran the world, there'd never be wars? And then David Feldman had a bit where he pointed out every woman who ever got in power created a war immediately.
I mean, you got to prove yourself as a leader.
That's right.
Remember who's a British chick? She's in for 5 minutes. And would you nuke if we tell you how to nuke? Are you prepared to nuke someone?
Remember that?
I think so.
But they brag about it. Remember this? I showed you this before.
John butt hurts who makes my butt itch.
Yeah. Listen.
I think it is a good thing if Massey and the people like him and others believe that if you cross the line into anti-Semitism, Jews are going to use the power that we have openly to go for you. Because what other recourse is there? Are we just going to sit here and take it, beg for scraps, hope?
I don't know. Maybe you could try, democracy, diplomacy.
The Constitution, the common constitution of an Arab would have. They have no constitution.
What?
It's not a democracy.
All right, and you can watch the rest of this video, just showing you how they're threatening U.S. politicians and all around the world. It's not just in the U.S. All right, to basically forward their agenda. Okay, and then basically the media there's a media blackout on the growing resistance because all hell is breaking loose and protests are happening all over the world. All right, here's in Brussels.
Right, found law, watching the ones that they passed that moves those need to go.
All right, this is GMS UK. The end is nigh too. All right, the Elder Ramah, subscribe and be edified. More uproars in Brussels.
Teaching awareness, sincerity, and truth. This is Brussels, I think, yeah. And there's a student protest going on right now. This is live. Check it out. It's June 4th, and it's live. And then student reforms and that. But you know, the whole system. You know, people are feeling the economic crunch. You know, people are broke and down and all that. So. That's the situation that we live in. There's a protest going on in England. It's been going on now. This is Brussels now.
And the uproars are only going to grow. Okay?
Bolivia is, in fact, witnessing some pretty violent clashes between protesters and the police. Anti-government anger has intensified due to a cost of living crisis just 6 months after Rodrigo Paz took charge as the president. The protesters are now seeking for his ouster.
And these things are only going to increase, which is going to give the powers that be, all right, through unrighteous decrees, the ability to pass laws and legislation, all right, and put you in a box, okay, if you have, you know, ideologies against what they're doing, okay? So this is happening all around the world. And see, a lot of people are of the opinion, well, this has been happening. Oh, y'all been saying that. Okay. Well, eventually the thing that the prophet says, all right, goes from being a rumor to being right upside your damn head. All right. And what are these people protesting against? Corruption, right?
Flares have escalated in recent days. The streets of the Bolivian capital, La Paz, are filled with angry demonstrators. Roadblocks, barricades, tear gas, smoke, and also small-scale explosions. In the latest, the protesters tried to push through the security barricades, protecting government buildings. The security officials also tried to push the protesters back by firing several canisters of tear gas. The demonstrators could be...
Right. Kenya
is reeling, and there's some rising fuel prices due to the Strait of Hormuz blockade.
See, what's going on in Iran is causing fuel prices to rise in certain places. And again, it hasn't hit the U.S. as bad as it's hit, you know, certain, you know, places in Asia and, you know, Africa, the Europe, which, you know, that's pretty much all in the region of Asia as well. But it will eventually hit hardcore here as well. Grocery prices, you know, energy prices, everything's going up. And it's going to cause the people, they want you people to go crazy. They want people to ultimately, all right, as the scriptures say, uproar. All right, uproars of the people is the theme. All right, one of the many themes of end time prophecy, okay?
After protests that turned deadly, in which about 4 people ended up losing their lives. The government has announced that transport unions have agreed to suspend a nationwide transport strike following a slight decrease in diesel prices. The transport operators have agreed to suspend the strike for a week, opening the way for further negotiations with the government.
And things are only going to get worse, okay? I'm just showing you a few of the things happening. But, I mean, all you have to do is just type in protest and worldwide, okay? You know, Los Angeles, you know, people, you know, protesting ICE. I mean, everything is being protested. There's nothing but rebellion in the air, all right, worldwide, okay? The data centers are being protested, okay? You can just type in data center protest, Okay, and you'll see that. As a matter of fact, let's look that up. Data center protest. All right. Because these things are ruining the environment. Okay, and they're trying to, there's a media blockout. All right, here's a video here as well. And what I did before we go to that, I typed in here, what are some of the major uproars and protests going on worldwide? All right, it says around the world there are many large protests have begun, being driven by a few common themes: high cost of living, corruption, all right, election disputes, unemployment, immigration policies, war, and perceptions that governments are becoming unresponsive to ordinary people. Okay? And these governments, all right, none of them operate under the authority of Yahweh Bashim Yashai. And see, this is the problem. Okay? It will never work until the law, statutes, and commandments, all right, are the authority in the earth. You got protests in Bolivia, okay, Iran, Pakistan, Mexico, South Korea, United States, United Kingdom, India. Okay, and what seems small is eventually going to grow. Okay, rising costs of living, affordable housing, corruption, lack of trust in institutions, youth unemployment, immigration policies, election integrity concerns, government surveillance or restrictions, war and foreign policies. Okay. Yep. Let's get Matthew 24. And let's start at 3. And as he sat up on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world?" All right. And we know Esau is the end of the world. Okay. And his rulership is the reason for all of this confusion and rebellion. It says, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, "Take heed that no man deceive you." So there's going to be a lot of deception going out in the latter times. "For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many." All right. You have many, all right, fake pastors in the Christian world. You got many Israelites. All right. Everybody, supposedly has the truth, but that does not mean that the truth is not available, and not the Lord would never have a scenario to where there would only be false prophets. The truth would always be there. "Ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." Okay? All these things got to happen. Okay? Don't panic, man. Because eventually these things are going to be right before your very eyes here in America. Okay? It's just that Americans have been, used to living on a high horse and used to certain comforts. But these things are getting ready to be taken away. They're already starting to be taken away. Slowly but surely, all right, America is becoming a third world country. Okay, slowly but surely the middle class is gone. Okay, I had a video here where the middle class are living in cars.
I have been car homeless for about a month because last September.
Bob and I'm healthy. We are going to get a tiny home, but we don't need one, and we're grateful to have this right now. We're happy right now with where we are right now.
I lived in my car for 610 days. I've saved $52,000. I spent $23,000 on land, and now I'm making my way back. Finally, and by the time that I get there, it should be warm. So I'm figuring I have about 30 days left. In the meantime, I need to save as much money as possible for the land fund. I'm headed to dog sit for a week, and I figured while I'm in a city, I can Uber
my electrical pot where I'm going to cook my ramen. You guys, I kid you not, when I had my apartment.
These are people who don't look destitute. These are healthy looking people, but what is the theme? I'm living in my storage unit. I'm living in my car. Living is too high. Okay, and I like this page. Okay.
And we are in the bathroom, and here's the plug. That's where I'm going to plug it in. Here we go.
Rent rose 30% faster than median wages between 2017 and 2023. The math broke. These creators are reverse engineering survival inside that break. Now watch the routines they build, the infrastructure they improvise. This is the documentation of a parallel economy, one where traditional housing is no longer the prerequisite for participation. Notice how they narrate gratitude and hustle simultaneously. It's not cognitive.
It's possible. I bought this old-ass RV, and this RV housed me when I was homeless. I bought it on Facebook Marketplace full for cash.
You need to live in your car. Number one, and most importantly, you need a strong mindset. You cannot come into this thinking it's going to be the easiest thing on earth, and you're going to immediately save money or be safe. There are days that's going to be harder than others. It's not going to be
More or less the results of my survival skills. I'm not looking for anyone.
And he had, let me think I had his page up. Yeah, the epic economist. You know, he's going into a lot of things going on in the economy. All right, everything, you know, restaurant prices going up. Gas prices going up. Americans can't buy a home. Millions are giving up on the economy. People are crying in the grocery stores. This is the perplexity that the book of Luke, the 21st chapter, talked about. It's getting bad in America, man.
Walmart as a cashier. I have a freaking master's degree, bro.
The experience of being a working class American is to just be squeezed for every single dollar that you have.
People are charging $1,000 a month to rent rooms in their home. $1,000 a month to rent a room.
The CEOs are talking. The Federal Reserve is talking. The analysts are talking. The only voice nobody hears is the working American holding the whole country up.
There you go. And see, that's going to lead to more what? Rebellions, wars, rumors of wars, right? We always get the book of 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter, where you go have, you know, people ignoring their government and eventually taking it to the streets, warring against each other, warring against the government, right? This is what Yahweh Shai said, okay? It's going to be, what, wars and rumors of wars, nation rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, you know, famines, pestilence, earthquakes in diverse places. All right, these are the beginning of sorrows, persecution for preaching the word, people being offended, betraying one another, false prophets arising, iniquity abounding to where the love is going to wax cold. But see, all of these things are going to happen, and it is happening to a degree. It just hasn't magnified itself, all right, yet, but it's here. But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. Okay, so again, when we talk about Jacob's trouble, when we talk about the fire aspect, we're going to be put in this fire, man, right? This is the book of 2nd Esdras 9:1. He answered, consider all these things very carefully. When you shall see some of the signs that I have told you about have appeared, right, you will know that the time has come when the Most High will bring judgment on the world which he created. There will be earthquakes, national rebellions, international intrigues, unstable leaders, and confused rulers. When you see these things happening, you will know that they are what the Most High has spoken about since the beginning of creation. Let's go to chapter 15. Okay. Scriptures that constantly come out. Okay. Let's start at 10. My people are being led to the slaughter as a flock of sheep. Okay. Our people are being led, you know, to destruction, and these leaders are helping. They will no longer have to live in Egypt. I will use all my strength and power to bring them out of that land. And this is that new Egypt. I will bring disasters upon the Egyptians as I did earlier, and I will destroy their country. The whole land will be in mourning. So these are plagues, not just here in America, but worldwide. It will be shaken to its foundation. I, the Lord, will pound upon it. The farmers will mourn because their seeds will fail to sprout, and their trees will be destroyed by blight, hail, and terrible storms. The weather patterns are throwing the farmers off. Okay, the cost of fertilizer, right? I believe I have a video on that the Elder Shaquat did. Let's just tap into that real quick. I thought I did. Okay, here we go.
Farmers and hunters have reported finding boxes of Lone Star ticks across their properties. They move 3 times faster than the average tick, and it carries a substance called alpha-gal. Shortly after you've been bitten, you get what's called alpha-gal syndrome, which makes you permanently allergic to...
Yeah, there's a warfare, biological warfare, psychological warfare. Okay, ticks popping up that'll bite you, and you're allergic to certain foods. You feel sick, weak often. It's hard to have a good strain of days feeling good here because something's going on with the food. Something's going on with the atmosphere. All right?
All red meat. In 2009, there was only a few dozen cases. And in 2026, the CDC announced we have around 450,000 cases. It's a 100x increase since 2013. Now, mainstream news is telling you this increase is from climate change and rising deer populations. But I don't know if that's the truth. Recent tick bite ER visits are off the charts. Now, this is where it starts becoming suspicious. Bill Gates has funded research into a bio company named Oxitec to genetically modify ticks. Another connection is that he is heavily invested in plant-based meat companies called Impossible Food and...
So we're in the age, as you see in this article, of weaponized insects. Okay? Google plans to release 32 million mosquitoes in California. People are waking up to all of this. Okay? So people are getting ready to lose it. Okay? On their own government. Because of this wickedness that they're doing.
Nature's Find. This would force everyone that has alpha-gal syndrome and wanted their red meat fix to buy his product. In a published peer-reviewed bioethics journal, they argue we should genetically engineer ticks to make people allergic to meat. In the article, it says, we argue that if eating meat is morally impermissible, then efforts to prevent the spread of tick-borne AGS are also morally impermissible. Then right below it says, tick-borne AGS is a moral bioenhancer if and when it motivates people to stop eating meat.
And if you notice, as you're getting older, certain things you can't eat anymore, you get allergic to it. Well, thank the devil. Okay, and all of his, his 1144 call hello, y'all about Shemish, all his shenanigans, man. But red meat allergies explode 10,000% as Gil Bates GMO tick army spreads nationwide. Okay, so not only is it harming the farmers, it's harming the people. All right, because these things were put in the earth for us to eat. All right, to sustain ourselves, but now they're being compromised. All right, remember in Egypt you had a murrain cattle plague. All right, now that's being upticked by the powers that be. They're poisoning your food supply. Okay, they're weakening the people.
And at the top of the article, it says beneficial blood sucking. Also, here's a World Economic Forum linked bioethicist, and he calls for genetically modifying humans to induce meat intolerance.
So for example, I have milk intolerance, and some people are intolerant to crayfish. So possibly we can use human engineering to make it the case that we're intolerant to certain kinds of meat, to certain kinds of bovine proteins. And there's actually...
Because a part of the plan is people eating too much meat. Right, as you can see here, cows make 6% of global emissions. You can either fix the cows or make beef without them. Okay.
Australia is very blessed, whether it's wind or solar. It's quite phenomenal. And your land area per person, compared to, say, Singapore is pretty good. And so the opportunities created by a world that is getting rid of greenhouse gas emissions, Australia is rare in that the opportunities exceed the things you have to give up. You have to give up a large part of and eventually almost all of the coal mining activity. What happens with beef, my climate group, Breakthrough Energy, just announced literally today an investment in an Australian group called Ruminate that helps cows not be so much a source of methane emissions. So we have two paths to solving that. That's 6% of global emissions are cows who burp and fart methane to an extreme degree. You can either fix the cows to stop them doing that, or you can make beef without the cow. And both of those, will be pursued to see which one can lead to the best product in terms. of taste, health, and.
So yeah, they're moving from a system where human beings leaned on the creator, right, to where you're gonna lean on them, and it's the stuff we've been warning you about, right? But these are things that are here before you, okay?
Actually, analogs of this in life, there's this thing called the Lone Star tick, where if it bites you, you will become allergic to meat. I can sort of describe the mechanism. So that's something that we can do through human engineering. We can kind of possibly address really big world problems through human engineering.
Right, but the average Israelite doesn't care about stuff like this.
Here's a map of all the hotspots that these Lone Star ticks reside in, and it's mainly in the southeast regions. So if you know anyone in these specific areas that have land, wilderness, ask them about the tick increase, and I guarantee you they'll tell you that it's more than they've seen in previous years. This isn't anything new. The CIA has declassified documents that they weaponized and released infected ticks over sugar fields in Cuba back in the day under President Kennedy. You also have Plum Island, which was a top-secret animal biological warfare lab, which is where Lyme disease came out of in the 70s. From what I've read, these ticks don't like lavender, peppermint, and a synthetic insecticide called permethrin.
So farmers are reporting finding boxes of ticks on their land, and they don't know where they came from. Now, a lot of people are saying that is very weird and kind of creepy. And of course it is. But I am...
We always go into the farmers catching hell, under Trump, they will promise this and that. All right. Now you got the plague of ticks. All right. Let's see here. Being brought upon the people. Okay, so that's the aspect of farming. All right. We go into it constantly. The rising fertilizer prices. Everything is just working against the middle class and what held together the countries over time, farming, the working class, that's all being attacked. Okay. It says the world and the people, this is 2nd Esdras 15 and 14. The world and the people enter the doom. The war that will bring their destruction is very near. The nations will arm themselves to fight against nations. There will be great political turmoil with one group trying to overpower the other and gain control while ignoring the legitimate government, and there will no longer be free access to the cities. Because of their struggle for power will bring destruction, terror, and total confusion everywhere people live. Driven by famine and terrible suffering, people will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions. These are the things we're getting ready to see an uptick in. Because again, these prophecies aren't made to just sit on the page. Okay? Here's another one here.
You guys are on my property trying to intimidate me.
For Jimmy Dore, you can see arrested for planning a protest against data centers. All right, and we've already showed you, all right, the whole concept of anti-tech extremism. All right, so we have to make sure we continuously pray, man. All right, throw up them prayers. Okay, rid the leaven out of your spirit. Pray to Yahweh Bashim Yashai for mercy, because again, okay, they're getting ready to, again, like this devil here. All right, he's a devil, even though he ain't an Edomite. He's a devil. All right. Now they're on the defense. All right. If you betray this country, we will find you. After FBI raids Iranian U.S. citizen accused of selling computer parts to Tehran. So little by little, you're starting to see, you saw someone in L.A. who was, trading guns to Iran. Now you got this particular U.S. citizen from Iran, so basically the enemy within. Okay, people amongst us are the problem. Domestic tea, all right? We always told you about these things. And again, we're living in a regime where they're getting ready to what? All right, crack down on the people, come down with great wrath. All right, but this man here was so-called arrested for planning a protest against data centers.
Because I'm organizing a protest against a data center.
I don't know if you saw this article. I thought I had covered it, but I haven't.
Artificial Israel is under attack.
So U.S. law enforcement warns of anti-tech extremism. Extremism, Kurt.
Stop being extreme. Let me have your water.
Yeah. It's such a lazy catch-all whore of a word. Extreme.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
So if you go off the narrative or you protest what they're doing, you're an extremist. With
Why
the
are you
AI,
so extreme about not wanting to eat bugs and be bitten by mosquitoes that make you a vegetarian and not having any water or power?
why are you so extreme? Why don't you want to live in a storage container in a 15-minute city?
We should have no wars. Wow, a little extreme.
A little extreme. No wars?
Not like just one always humming in the background.
Okay. Why do I bring this up? Because they're now arresting people for protesting data centers. I told you this was coming.
What kind of cop are you if you enforce that? You are the biggest pig that ever lived, and you really should Omega.
I told you this was coming. I told you that that ICE police force was not for immigrants, nor were the prisons they built. Really? $80 billion a year for immigration? Are you kidding me?
Right. No, they're getting ready to attack their own citizens. Because they know in order to set this NWO up, it's going to take brute force. And they know that the American people are used to freedom, so they're going to rebel.
When they can just turn the border off at any time, and they did?
Turns out they could just close the border like they're flipping a switch.
I'm not
all
giving
that
credit
stuff.
for that.
So Trump's whole first term about we got to build a wall was all just bull. Because you don't need to build a wall. You can close the border just like that.
It was that donated money wall that Bannon was working on. What happened with any of that?
It all went away. So here are the cops showing up to a guy he wasn't even protesting yet. He was organizing a protest on Facebook. And the cops show up. This is in Illinois.
This cop's eyes are a little too close together. I think we can see that.
So
he's a bright cop.
So let's
look at the IQ test to make sure they're not bright.
So let's watch a little bit of this. Let's watch. This is him. And I'll give you the rest of the story after I show you this video.
It's right here, came by because I'm trying to organize a community protest against a representative who's trying to push in a data center owned by a out-of-state company, trying to suck up all our energy. I made a post. I made an event on Facebook trying to organize the community together. And what's your badge number? Name and badge number?
I'm Detective Benson.
And name and badge number?
Sure. I think they're being influenced.
Okay. Yeah. I have a First Amendment right to protest. And if I organize a protest on a public road, there's nothing wrong with.
All right. So pretty much, I mean, you can watch it, but unrighteous decrees are coming forth. All right. This will only uptick. All right. And eventually there's going to be a point where we're no longer on those streets. Okay.
Remember? And hey, remember them American Indian protests that Obama crushed?
Yeah.
With that oil pipeline?
Dapple.
Yeah, and Obama was brutal, and everybody accepted it. So now that we have those labels of terrorism, now guess what? That's for all he is. They're going to do it to everybody. Everybody's going to get a taste.
They're coming for you. ICE is coming for you. The ICE prisons are for you.
We stand for you.
For you.
For you.
Yeah, because they're and it's I told you as soon as they can suspend the Constitution for terrorists, right? Oh, we can indefinitely detain you if you're a terrorist. I said immediately when Barack Obama did that, when he repealed habeas corpus and said that you can, if someone's a terrorist, you can give them indefinite detention. That means that you could lock someone up without a trial.
And those FISA courts they use on Trump, it's a real alley-oop from Obama to Trump,
right.
isn't it?
So they used the FISA courts, which is a secret court where you're not allowed to represent yourself. They use that to screw over Trump and get taps on his phone and everybody in his campaign's phone. And now Trump is now on the side of those FISA courts and the spying abilities of the NSA, the FBI, and the CIA on you. Not only can they propagandize you, which they do now, but now they can spy on you, and Trump is 100% behind it. Just so you know, the same thing they used against him, Trump is now saying, go ahead, use it against...
Again, the two horns like a lamb. There's a reason we keep bringing these things out, because eventually it's going to be right before you. All right? The rumors, right, that we've been prophesying of are here. Revelation 13 and 11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. This is Babylon the Great. The extension of Rome, where the end would come through. And he had two horns like a lamb, his Democratic and Republican system, and they've used those to bamboozle you and push the illusion of a divide in choice and freedoms, right? They came like a lamb. They even used the Bible to swear in. But as soon as they get in, they pass all manner of anti-Messiah legislation. This Trump regime, continues to try to push the Christian nationalist rhetoric, but it's really all Edomite supremacy and doing the bidding of the small hats for this technocracy, okay? and he spake as a dragon. So they're getting ready to speak as a dragon. And as they, put this system in place, this technocracy, which is a technological Rome, all right, you will, a lot of people are going to be deceived by the miracles and how they present it. But eventually you're going to look up and you're going to be forced, all right, to bow to the technocracy and everything that it brings. And if you got something to say against it, okay, you will be what? Jailed, put to death. This is the straight and narrow path that we're walking down, because really our testimony is what they're after. Okay?
The citizens.
Well, he meant that, yeah, in some ways, the FISA court where you can't represent yourself at all is corrupt. But we're just getting rid of that and using it in the not corrupt ways of a secret court.
Yeah.
That is accountable to no one.
So all they have to do is say you're a terrorist or an extremist, right? So they did that in DAPL. They charged people with terrorism. Amy Goodman was one of them. She's the host of Democracy Now! She was up there. They arrested her, charged her with eco-terrorism. So now they don't have to give you any rights. You don't get to have the right to a speedy trial. And you can be detained indefinitely, being locked up without a trial.
So that's probably why she got her mind right on COVID vaccines.
She certainly got her mind right on COVID.
I'll bet you that those terror charges are going to lead on an old crooked mouth.
And she was a Russiagator. She's for the Ukraine war. She's just useless. She's a tool of the. So you don't ever come together.
So it says our government and both parties are completely owned by the tech billionaires who are rewiring our economy to usher in their AI techno-capitalist dystopia. This is what the Bible says, man. This is why you are seeing the government do whatever it can to silence any and all opposition to the dystopian nightmare their tech billionaire owners are pushing onto us, and labeling anti-data center protesters extremists, all right, and basically trying to stop protest. Okay, and eventually we're going to be brought under that banner. This is the book of Psalms 37 and 14. The wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy and to slay such as be of upright conversation. Now, this was interesting to me as well, as the Pentagon, all right, drops 180 religions from its recognized faith list. Okay, and when you go into it, they're doing it under the guise of, not saying that these people can't practice their religions, but they're pretty much starting to place people in particular categories, all right, so that they can go ahead and label you and make their move. Remember, this is the accuser of the brethren. Okay, let's see here.
A growing controversy is brewing inside the U.S. military after reports that the Pentagon is considering reducing the number of religious categories available to service members. And critics say the move risks sidelining thousands of troops from minority faiths and non-religious backgrounds, while the government argue it's part of a broader effort to simplify military administration. The decision considered under Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth that would reduce the number of faith and belief categories.
And again, these people are complete psychopaths, but they're sitting in positions where they can decide who's what, what's good, what's bad. Right, like the Apostle Ramlav said, we at the end of the World Cup. We here, man.
Recognized across military systems. For many service members, the issue goes beyond paperwork. They say religious identity plays a crucial role in everything from pastoral support to end-of-life arrangements and personal recognition while serving in uniform. The critics argue that reducing faith classification sends the wrong message to military personnel whose beliefs fall outside the mainstream religious traditions. According to a 2019 congressional report, nearly 70% of U.S. military personnel identify as Christian, while almost a quarter belong to other faith groups and have no religious affiliation or are listed as unknown. As per the same report, 2.3% of the personnel identify themselves as atheists or agnostics. Civil rights organizations.
And again, they're not taking these religions away, all right? But what I get from it is that they're condensing, everything into a, because I asked here, what does this mean? All right. It says the story is real, but some headlines are making it sound broader than what it is. What happened is that the U.S. Department of Defense reduced the number of religion affiliation codes used in military personnel records from about 211 to 31. These codes are used by military chaplains and personnel systems to identify the religion makeup of units and provide support. The Pentagon says the change was made to simplify the administration and make it easier for chaplains to plan religious support. And we know that, again, war is in this man's heart. Some faiths and belief systems that were previously had their own codes, such as Wicca, paganism, humanism, deism, and others, were removed as standalone categories. So they're pretty much placing everything in its particular category, I believe, for the purpose of what? Accusing and waging war. Okay? Let's see here. Critics argue that smaller faith groups may become less visible. Chaplains may have less information about minority religious needs. Okay, and I did see an article where they said that the religious exemption for the vax may be on the chopping block as well. All right, we'll see. All right. Some see the move as a broader push towards more Christian-centered culture within parts of its government. All right. And it's not a ban on these religions, but they're doing something. There's a lot of unrighteous decrees getting ready to be passed. And remember, the accuser of the brethren, all right, is on the move. What I'm going to ask here is, are there talks to remove religious see what he says. Usually they won't really tell the truth. All right. I'm not aware of any proposal to eliminate religious exemptions for the vax. I saw something speaking about it, but these are the types of things that, you know, I'll just keep that on the back burner, because I have it was a post somewhere that went into it. It was an insider saying they were inside of a meeting where, you know, religious exemptions for the vax were getting ready to be cut off. All right. And this is coming at a time, all right, where the powers that be are getting ready to bring about, all right, more vax mandates. Okay. But let's go back here. Oh, and I wanted to play this as well, because while they're trying to say people are anti-American, look what they're doing. This is what I wanted to, let me pull it up real quick.
So I don't know if you've heard about this, but because the United States population is turning against Israel, an overwhelming now majority of people are anti-Israel, and for good reason, they should be, because if you have a moral bone in your body, you would be against this genocidal, warmongering, bloodthirsty nation that hides behind a religion, even though they're atheists, right?
They're going to make you into Gaza, so yeah, you should be a little disturbed by it.
And so what the big plan is now, in fact, Bibi Netanyahu came up with this plan. His plan is to, this is the letter he sent to a congressman thanking him. He says the plan is to merge the Israeli military with the United States military. So why do they want to do that? They want to do that because people are against funding Israel anymore, right? So now if they just make it part of our military, you don't have to say we're funding Israel, because they just take it right out of our military budget without a special. So that's what this is about.
Weren't they trying to fund the IDF soldier benefits already without this?
I think they already do that. Am I wrong about that? And I
know that was proposed and people got mad, but I didn't hear about it, so I assume it went through.
Could you look on Grok if we are funding IDF military benefits? I'm pretty sure, and I know I did say doo-doo. I was glad to receive your proposal. Dear Congressman Stutzman, I was glad to receive your proposed congressional resolution endorsing my plan. That's Benjamin Netanyahu's, my plan to shift the framework from U.S.-Israeli defense cooperation from aid to partnership. I am heartened by your enthusiastic support for our plan to develop a new memorandum of understanding. That'd be what they call an MOU. That Brian Harpo talk about. You got an MOU. Gotcha.
I don't know what you want me to do, sir. I don't know what, ma'am.
Grok said no. With the United States, so no, we don't fund the IDF. We really, according to Grok, but maybe Grok is wrong. With the United States government that will draw down U.S. financial military assistance over the next decade and replace it with what you refer to as a new framework of joint defense cooperation, co-development, co-production, and mutual investment in areas including advanced missile defense, artificial intelligence, unmanned systems, cybersecurity, and next-generation military platforms. So what that means is they're just going to, now when we pass National Defense Authorization Act, when we fund our military, it's going to just be funding Israel's military. So they don't have to explicitly give the money to them. So that's because they know it's coming. So Israel knows it's coming, that the people have turned against them, so they want to get out in front of that, and so they just want to merge our military. And Ro Khanna is against this. Ro Khanna, who I'll join with anyone to do good and no one to do wrong. So when Ro Khanna's on the right side of something, I'm with him, and when he's on the wrong side of something, like the Ukraine war, I'm going to call him out. Okay, and he also didn't stand up during Forced to Vote, which was a big heartbreaker. So I had big hopes for Ro Khanna, and every once in a while he comes through, and this is one of them. So he proposed a measure called Section 224. The House today voted on a new measure to fuse elements of the Israeli and U.S. militaries, particularly the cyber weapons front. Section 224, as it is known, it includes the but then Ro Khanna introduced an amendment to strip it from the bill. So let's just watch a little bit of Ro Khanna's speech telling people why they should agree with him and strip this from the bill.
The American people are tired of the arrogance and insolence of Prime Minister Netanyahu telling America what we should do. The entire country of Israel has a GDP that is less than a single town in my district. And somehow Netanyahu thinks he could tell the American people what we should do. The person who's most upset with him right now is President Donald Trump. And everyone in America, whether you're a Republican, an independent, or a Democrat, says that we need to tell Netanyahu that America calls the shots, not the prime minister of any other country. They want less cooperation and blank checks to Israel, not more. Only the United States Congress would dream up at this moment, let's actually do more for Israel, not less. And that's what Section 2024 does. It's a pretty simple thing. Should we do more for Israel than we already do, or should we do less? If you think we should do more for Israel, you should be against my amendment. If you think we should do less for Israel at the time that he's arrogantly telling Donald Trump what to do, then you should be for my amendment. Now, let me just be clear. Mr. Netanyahu actually wrote.
So your country has been sold out, okay?
To a member of Congress to put this Section 224 into the bill.
Yeah, and that's what I showed you. I showed you that letter he sent to Stutzman. And this is from Gen X Girl. These are the two authors of this Section 224. These are the authors of the bill to merge the Israeli military with the United States military. It's Pat Fallon from Texas and Don Davis. Let's hear what they had to say after Ro Khanna gave that speech. Let's hear what they had to say. So basically what they're doing, just to let you know what's exactly happening, this is basically Israel saying, well, rather than me robbing your house, I'm just going to make it my house instead, to save you from the extra paperwork.
It's really their best friend. DeepSeek analyzed it already.
And this is treason, right? This is, what the founding fathers said, when this stuff started to happen, people should uprise against the government, and they had the right. So a lot of these, red-blooded Americans are getting ready to go effing crazy, man. Isaiah 19:1, and start at 2. The Lord says, I will stir up civil war in Egypt and turn brother against brother and neighbor against neighbor. Rival cities will fight each other, and rival kings will struggle for power. I'm going to frustrate the plans of the Egyptians and destroy their morale. They will ask to their idols to help them, and they will go to consult the mediums and ask for the spirits of dead for advice. So there's Americans all over the place. And I will hand the Egyptians over to a tyrant. A cruel king will rule them. Trump. a tyrant. Oh, Salaki, I didn't mean to do that.
Rigged election. Let me tell you, it's 4 days, and they aren't even close to coming up with.
That's how they
You know why they're doing that? Because they're cheating on the election.
Do you have evidence to support
All I have to do is look. All I have to do is look.
That's not
evidence. And I listen to people, and let's see what happens.
But, sir, that's not evidence.
You think it's appropriate?
That's how they count the votes.
Do you think it's appropriate that they have an election, and 5 days later, they're nowhere close to picking
State and local officials acknowledge they are slow. They're urging.
No, they're crooked.
They're urging
They're
the votes to be counted quickly. That's how they vote in
crooked,
California.
just like you're crooked. Your press is crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked.
To be fair, I'm not crooked, but let's
Really?
Let's
Well, you
continue.
play right into their hands. Then.
Let's continue.
You're either crooked or you're stupid. You play right into their hands with this crap. You know that these elections are rigged. Your network knows that they're rigged. You know that I won an election in a landslide, and I got 94% bad press.
But Mr. President,
you know why I
you've
got
never
that?
presented
Because you have no
evidence.
credibility.
But you've never presented evidence that it was rigged. Let's keep talking about. I want to talk about Todd.
You have more evidence. There's more evidence than ever presented.
Let's talk
your
about
elections in this country. We're like a third world country. Your elections are crooked, and you're crooked. And
It's that cruel Lord, man. And everything's collapsing. Okay, everything's collapsing, man. From as a matter of fact, oh man, Salaki, I'm a little tired. Verse 11, the leaders of the city of Zoan are fools. Zoan is the modern day DC. I've already done videos showing you the parallels of how Zoan in Egypt operated the same way as DC does in America. The spiritual Egypt. And if you want to get a Christian, start talking about prophecy. I wouldn't get into, back and forth with Christians over the virgin birth and, which, at the end of the day, the spirit dictates what the men of the Lord bring out. But, start bringing up, Daniel 7. Now, we've already talked about the virgin birth. We've already talked about if the Most High and his son are the same power. We've already talked about that. I've seen him go up to the brothers in, Vocab went up to the brothers in London. But at the end of the day, get these niggas to talk about prophecy, throne of David, stuff like that, and then they'll scurry off. But it's all a spirit at the end of the day. But break down Isaiah 19. See, Vocab wants to jump to the part talking about Egypt and Assyria, which he doesn't understand that. But okay, let's break down the whole chapter. How does this play out? What is this talking about? Egypt's wisest people give stupid advice. How dare they tell the king they are the successor of ancient scholars and kings? So you're finding out that these devils don't have a high IQ. They're nothing to boast in. They're very low vibrational, all right, and they're horrible rulers. King of Egypt, where are those clever advisors of yours? Perhaps they can tell you what plans the Lord Almighty has for Egypt, Babylon. The city, the leaders of Zoan or in Memphis are fools. They were supposed to lead the nation, but they have misled it. The Lord have made them give confusing advice. As a result, Egypt does everything wrong and staggers like a drunk slipping in his own vomit. No one in Egypt, rich or poor, right? There's no middle, important or unknown, can offer help. There's nothing to help this situation that Babylon is in. In the end all be all, let's go to Joel 3. Okay. Because they think that they're just going to use their power and just, rule and dominate and, blot out righteousness and just go ahead and use media manipulation and these fake outrage and back and forths. Right. And all these enchantments are going to work for them, man. Joel 3:19, Egypt shall be a desolation and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah because they have shed innocent blood in their land. So America's going to pay for all of this confusion, man. And you're going to see more rebellions and uproars. And there's going to come a point where the leadership through, divine guidance, all right, are going to be, we're going to be told we ain't going out on the highways no more. That's coming. All right. And a lot of our people are going to get caught up in just, bloodshed. All right. Just completely destroyed, man. All right. But anyway, I just wanted to bring out a few things. All right. In the grand scheme of things, this is what it's going to lead to. Okay. America's newest soldier is ready to be rolled out. You rebel, you come up against us. All right, this is when things are going to get so bad. We don't have enough people joining the military. We're going to use robots against y'all asses. But we'll get into that more in, one of the next news and prophecies. All right, hopefully y'all edified on to the next Shalom.